Hello there, it's Look Movie Recaps again. Watch out and take care. The movie starts in 1864, when John and his whole family, that includes his wife Marie, his son Creston and his brother Peter, decide to emigrate to the United States from Denmark. They plan to travel to their small residence, so they book a stagecoach ride, but Peter decides to stay behind. They board the coach along with another couple, but shortly, a man sticks his head inside the coach, telling the other couple that they have to exit the coach and that their place has been taken by other customers. Upon their exit, two men that have recently just been released from prison replace them. Paul and Lester enter the coach and the journey begins. The two men seem to be cool at first. They try communicating with Marie and Creston, but find out from John that they don't speak English. John tells them about the home that he has built for them, reassuring Creston that he will feel right at home. The two criminals are sharing a drink when one offers a drink to Marie, insisting that she drinks. Marie refuses at first, but John tells her just to ease the tension and accept the drink. John explains that his wife and son cannot yet speak English and answers the men's questions. Despite John's hospitable behavior towards these criminals, they unveil their true colors and suddenly begin touching Marie inappropriately in front of John. He tells Paul to stop his savage behavior, but Paul considers it as a threat. Lester suddenly pulls a gun and sticks it into John's face. Paul pulls Marie into his laps, mocking John that he cannot do a thing about it. John sees his chance and disarms Lester and pulls his gun in a swift move. John tells Creston to pick up Lester's gun, but Lester grabs him and holds a knife at his neck. Paul then pulls out two guns. He gives John 5 seconds to get off the coach or they will kill both Creston and Marie. Having no other option, John drops his gun and Paul pushes him from the coach. John recovers and takes off running after the coach. Although it's too fast compared to John's pace, he doesn't give up. John runs for what seems like forever through the night until he reaches a shack. There is no sign of anyone inside, but in the distance, John is shocked by the sight of Creston's lifeless body laying on the ground. John cradles his little boy in tears before picking him up and walking on. He comes upon the bodies of both the coach driver and the guard in front of the parked coach. He lays Creston down and grabs a nearby gun before carefully approaching the coach. He spots one man and he skillfully shoots Lester right between the eyes. Paul tries running away, crying that Marie isn't dead and begging for his life. Without a second thought, John begins to load Paul up with bullets, ensuring he empties everything into him. Afterwards, John carries his wife and son to his home. Peter gets the news and soon arrives to see his nephew and sister-in-law's lifeless bodies. He stands beside his brother to support him as he breaks down in tears. It turns out that Paul, who has been killed by John, is the brother of a notorious gang leader and land baron named Henry Delarue. Upon hearing the news, he and his small army of men ride into the small town known as Black Creek. Mayor Keene meets Delarue, assuring him that no one in their small town had anything to do with his brother's demise. Delarue ignores him. He steps inside to look at the bodies and demands to know if they caught the killer. Sheriff Malik, while trembling in his boots, tells Delarue that it's no one from their town and they have no idea. Delarue grimly gives them 2 hours to bring the killer to him alive, or he wants 2 of the town folks to retribute if they refuse. Delarue promises to kill 4 people himself by noon the next day. Mayor Keene picks out 2 of the town folks, an old woman who has accepted her fate and a man without both his legs. He begs that the men spare his life. Without wasting any time, Delarue shoots the begging man dead. He walks over to the old woman, who curses his soul before Delarue shoots her in the face. Delarue pauses for a second. Feeling unsatisfied, he shoots one more man dead. The sheriff tells the people to stay calm as he would kill more. Delarue complains that one old woman and half a man did not satisfy his thirst for vengeance. Turns out that Black Creek has been paying Delarue $80 for protection, but now he demands $160 by the end of the month until they find the person that killed his brother. The mayor pleads for mercy from him, but he stands on his words. Delarue buries Paul with his mute widow Madeline in attendance. He promises her that he will get vengeance, but she just wants peace and tells him to be quiet. Elsewhere, after burying his family, John and Peter bring their belongings into town to be sold off, so they can leave. Peter heads into the shop that was previously ran by the old woman and meets her grandson named Wojciech, who tells him of his grandmother's demise, which was fueled by none other than Delarue. He tells him that his gun skills would be used around town for their protection, but Peter is only interested in selling skins, and does not want to get involved in any scuffles. He later teaches the boy not to pick fights that he knows he will lose, but Wojciech calls him a coward. John goes to meet with Mayor Keene, interested in selling his plot of land, but learns that he can only get $140, half of what he paid for the land 6 years ago. Mayor Keene explains that due to Delarue's fees, he is unable to pass $150, noting that if they could find the man that killed Delarue's brother, then things would be much better. John is confused at the moment, but when he learns that Paul was Delarue's brother, he understands the danger he may be in. John accepts the 150. Mayor King warns him to hide the cash in his boots, unless he wants to be robbed. John steps out and is preparing to leave when he realizes that he is being surrounded by men with guns. It turns out to be the town's folks led by Sheriff Malik. They have found out that he is the killer of Delarue's brother. He suddenly shoots John from his horse. Delarue and Madeline meet with the Standard Atlantic Oil Company, where it is revealed that with the help of Mayor Keene, he has been buying out Black Creek and the surrounding land, which is rich in crude oil. Delarue learns that the oil company intercepted a message from the sheriff to the federal government, asking for help with Delarue. He reminds him that he is not dealing with Indians anymore and demands that his methods match up to the image of the company. We shift scenes to John, who is being held in jail. Peter also is dragged in by a few men. They push him and beat him up in the cell. Once the men are left alone with Malik, John begs him to let Peter go, as he is innocent, but Malik wants Peter to pay for breaking his deputy's jaw while he was being captured. Malik has already sent word to Delarue about John's capture in hopes that his little town will now be saved. He reveals that Delarue was once a good man, but after defeating the entire tribes of Indians, he gradually became a cruel man. Malik apologizes to John for his loss but thinks that John should have shown compassion to Delarue's brother, which would save them a lot of trouble, but hopes that John's death will buy them some time until he gets help from the feds. Unaware that his message has been intercepted. The next day, John is dragged from jail. The entire town folks have gathered. The men beat John and throw him over a horse before riding away with him. They bring him back to their base and tie him on a post. Delarue and Madeline come out to see him, introducing him to her as the man who killed her husband, but John makes it clear that Paul killed his little boy and assaulted his wife. Delarue does not care, and wants to find out what John is made of. Having heard that he was a soldier, he leaves him to bake in the sun. Soon Mayor Keene rides into the base, and before meeting with Delarue, he coldly pulls John's boots from his feet, telling him that he won't be needing them, and the cash where he is going. Back in Black Creek, Peter is plotting to escape. He hears Sheriff Malik telling the guard that he will be held back at mass. It is the same guard that he messed up, so Peter begins mocking the man, telling him that no woman will want him with that face. He now looks as stupid as he sounds. The man cannot take it anymore, so he rushes over, but Peter grabs his feet and knocks him out to escape. Delarue, after forcing Madeline in bed, he tells her that he has been waiting for the moment to use her like he has just done. He continues that he has big plans for her being his woman. Madeline looks unhappy since she was forced into the act without her consent. On that rainy evening, as John is still tied up on the pole, Peter arrives and sets his eyes on him, and now he is planning on how to free his brother. One guard leaves his colleague to keep watch, and heads inside to grab a cup of coffee since it was cold and rainy, but returns to see the man missing. He pulls his gun and goes to check, but Peter kills him silently with a blade. Peter cuts John free and puts his weakened brother over his shoulder. Two guards almost find him, but Peter shoots them dead. The others open fire, but Peter escapes with John on the horseback. Peter and John are making their way, but John is too weak to ride on his own and too heavy to carry, so Peter hides him, promising to come back for him, and leaving him with a rifle in case he is found. Delarue and his men continue chasing them. Peter tricks them into following him, so he gives his brother time to recover. Delarue's men fall for his trick and follow him, leaving John behind. John awakens the next day and is quenching his thirst. He then hears horses. He takes cover and grabs his rifle just as Delarue and his men pass close by, but John is shocked when he sees his brother dead body Peter being dragged by Delarue's men. When they get back to base, Delarue finds his men he left behind all dead and all his money is gone. He realizes that Madeline has robbed him. In the next scene, we see Madeline has made it onto a train with a bag of cash eagerly awaiting for its departure. The train sets off and Madeline seems relieved, until she sees Delarue's gang racing towards the train. Shortly, it stops. She realizes she is in trouble. She gets up and pulls out her gun. She runs to the back, but the men have her all surrounded. Back to John, who is roaming the countryside. He finds a small house belonging to a lady whose husband was killed by Delarue. She sees him and grabs her gun and she starts shooting at him, but stops after seeing that John is just looking for water. She brings him to the barn to rest and offers him food and water. She and her family are about to leave their home. She offers to take John along, but he refuses, just wanting to regain his strength as he has work to do. We shift scenes to Delarue's men, who eventually bring Madeline back to him. She looks rebellious onto him and he orders his men to use her and after kill her. Once John is rested, he immediately makes his way to the mayor's house. He holds him at gunpoint and demands his boots and cash. John then demands that he hands over his deed. He wonders why the mayor had come to visit Delarue, realizing that the mayor is working with Delarue. John tells him to open the coffin he is working on and he forces him to get inside. The mayor begins to crap himself begging for mercy, but John locks him inside the coffin and leaves him there. John goes back to Wojciech's shop wanting to buy guns, bullets and bottles of kerosene. John tells Wojciech to tell Malik the sheriff about the mayor and Delarue's plan to buy out Black Creek for the oil. But Wojciech wants to fight. John simply leaves with his weapons ready to wage war on Delarue's. Back at Delarue's base, his men witness a horse pulling a coffin toward them. When they open it, they set their eyes on the dead mayor. Delarue orders his men to burn him as he plans to use the coffin for John. In the distance, the men see a large fire and someone opening fire at them. He turns out to be Wojciech, setting up a diversion for John. There is another fire at the barn, and when one man goes to check, John lights him up and kills him. Now the entire base is on edge. Delarue grabs a rifle as he doesn't know where the attack is coming from. Wojciech following orders, he climbs onto a roof and after gathering his courage, he shoots one man in the stomach and he flees away. Wojciech tries to move, but men inside the building hear him on the roof and open fire at him, only to see gasoline pouring down on them. One man smoking a cigarette instantly catches fire and his colleague shoots him instantly. John sees Wojciech's dead body and gets remorseful. Then he sees one gangster pulling Madeline from the room. John shoots him accurately and he drops from the roof, leaving Madeline unharmed. But he continues firing at him. John shoots him dead, but another gangster locates him in the process. He shoots John. When he comes closer to finish him, he doesn't find him there. Delarue is also seen outside roaming with his rifle, waiting for an opportunity to shoot John. His man opens fire through the floorboards, then goes to pimp but gets a knife to the eyeball. As he staggers away, John finishes him off brutally with his blade. Suddenly John is shot in the shoulder by Delarue and falls. Delarue comes over to him and begins his villain speech, but Madeline turns up in action and shoots him. Then John ends him with a shot to the head. The two hold each other at gunpoint, but Madeline walks away. Later John is preparing to leave. Sheriff Malik and his men ride into town, passing all the dead men including Delarue. Sheriff Malik is grateful to John for taking them out of their misery, but holds back when he sees Madeline with him. He claims that he thought he has gotten rid of all the evil souls. The two aim their guns at him and John warns him to leave if he doesn't want to face the same fate like the others. He leaves, and shortly after, John and Madeline also leave the town together. It is revealed that the oil company eventually took over the town. The film ends. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.